At first, American Pie looked like just another late 90s teen comedy. But the deeper I looked, the more I realized its funniest moments came from pure behind the scenes chaos. A few casting stories, a few improvised jokes, maybe one awkward scene that went too far. But what I found was much stranger. On screen, American Pie looked like a wild high school comedy about friends, parties, and embarrassing mistakes. But behind the camera, it was full of nervous studios, uncomfortable actors, strange accidents, and small moments that accidentally became movie history. This is the story behind the comedy that made an entire generation laugh and cringe at the same time. In 1999, American Pie arrived at the perfect moment. Teen movies were everywhere. But this one felt different. It was messy, it was awkward, it was outrageous. And somehow, under all the chaos, it had a strange kind of honesty. So today we're taking off the mask and looking at 7 weird facts behind American Pie. Fact 1. Before it became American Pie, the movie had one of the strangest working titles in Hollywood history. The original script was not called American Pie. It had a long joke title that basically described the movie as a cheap teenage comedy that many people would probably hate. The writer, Adam Hertz, used it as a joke, but the strange part is, the title stayed on early production documents for a while. Imagine being a young actor, trying to explain to your family what movie you just got cast in, and then you show them that title. Not exactly the kind of thing you want printed on your first big Hollywood script. The studio eventually changed it to American Pie, not because it had some deep meaning, but because it was simple, memorable, and everyone finally stopped arguing about it. Sometimes, a movie becomes iconic because of careful planning, and sometimes it just survives the meeting room. Fact 2. The real high school did not want the movie inside. In the film, East Great Falls High feels like a real place. The lockers, the hallways, the classrooms, the prom. But the school used for the exterior shots reportedly refused to let the production film inside after reading the script. And honestly, you can understand why. This was not a clean, safe, inspirational high school movie. This was American Pie. So the production had to build many of the school interiors somewhere else. That means the hallways and rooms we remember were not really part of the actual school. They were controlled movie spaces. It also explains why the school sometimes looks just a little too polished, almost too perfect. The funny part is, the real location still became connected to the movie anyway. Even the parts they tried to avoid became part of its legend. Fact 3. Jason Biggs was warned that this movie could follow him forever. Before American Pie, Jason Biggs was not yet the face of awkward teen comedy. But when he saw the role of Jim, he felt it was right for him. His agent was not so sure. The movie was risky, the humor was extreme, and the role demanded total embarrassment. This was not the kind of performance where you could protect your image. To play Jim, Biggs had to make himself look nervous, confused, exposed, and completely humiliated. But that commitment is exactly why he got the role. He leaned into the awkwardness instead of running from it. And yes, the role did follow him for years. But it also made him unforgettable. That is the strange bargain of comedy. Sometimes the scene that embarrasses you the most is the scene that makes you famous. Fact 4. Stifler was never supposed to take over the movie. Today, it is almost impossible to imagine American Pie without Stifler. He became one of the loudest and most remembered characters in the entire franchise. But in the beginning, he was not written as a major character. He was closer to a background party guy, a loudmouth, a side character with a few memorable lines. Then, Seann William Scott showed up. His energy changed the room. He brought a strange confidence to Stifler. Annoying, funny, chaotic, and somehow impossible to ignore. The filmmakers started giving him more space. Scene by scene, Stifler grew. And by the time the movie was finished, he had become one of its main comedy engines. The wildest part? His early work on the movie reportedly cost the studio only a small amount compared to how famous the character became. One of the cheapest performances in the film became one of its biggest cultural weapons. Fact 5. The pie scene was supposed to be much smaller. Everyone knows that scene. Even people who have never watched the full movie know about it. But behind the camera, it was not originally meant to feel so huge. It started as a quick, awkward gag, a moment of teenage stupidity, a short joke, then move on. But Jason Biggs committed to it completely. He did not play it halfway. He pushed the embarrassment as far as he could, and the crew could barely hold themselves together. The studio was nervous. They worried the scene might be too much. They worried audiences might reject Jim completely. Instead, the opposite happened. That one uncomfortable scene became the image people remembered most. It became the joke that defined the movie. A small gag turned into the entire brand. Hollywood can spend millions trying to create a perfect marketing moment. American Pie found one in the most awkward place possible. Fact 6. The webcam scene made the cast want to disappear. One of the most famous sequences in the movie involves the private webcam disaster. At the time, this idea felt very modern. The internet was still new enough to feel mysterious, funny, and dangerous. But when the cast later watched an early cut of the scene, it was uncomfortable. Jason Biggs reportedly wanted to sink into his seat. Shannon Elizabeth was also embarrassed by how exposed and chaotic the scene felt on screen. And that reaction tells you something important. Even the actors did not fully know how intense the final version would feel. But test audiences loved it. They laughed at the panic, the timing, the complete loss of control. The studio noticed. Instead of hiding the scene, they leaned into it. What felt embarrassing to the actors became one of the biggest selling points of the movie. That is the strange power of American Pie. It turned private humiliation into public comedy. Fact 7. The movie worked because it had a heart under the chaos. This is the part people sometimes forget. American Pie was not remembered only because it was shocking. It lasted because, underneath the wild jokes, the characters felt strangely human. One of the best examples came from Tara Reid. During a scene between Vicky and Kevin, she reportedly added a softer, more vulnerable moment that was not originally written that way. It gave the scene more emotion. Suddenly, the movie was not just about boys making stupid promises. It was about insecurity, pressure, confusion, and trying to grow up before you really understand anything. That small emotional layer mattered, because without it, American Pie might have been just another loud comedy. But with it, the movie had contrast. It could be ridiculous 1 minute and strangely sincere the next. That is why people still remember it. Not just because it was outrageous, but because somewhere inside all that embarrassment, it felt honest. American Pie became a cultural moment because it understood something very simple. Growing up is awkward. Friendship is awkward. Dating is awkward. Trying to act confident when you have no idea what you're doing is awkward. The movie exaggerated everything, but the feeling underneath was real. That is why it stayed with people. Not as a perfect film, but as a messy time capsule from the late 90s, when teen comedies were loud, risky, uncomfortable, and impossible to forget. If you enjoyed this hidden look behind American Pie, like the video, subscribe to Cinema Unmasked, and tell me in the comments which movie I should uncover next. Because every movie has a mask, and we are here to take it off.